Before heading to the Isle of Man, our first stop was Inverness at a place called the Highlander. We ate haggis to celebrate just finishing the NC 500 and walked around the town just a little bit more, exploring art galleries and clothing shops and food halls and seeing some beautiful artwork as well as just some cool architecture and, of course, motorcyclists. We hopped on a train to Edinburgh, but little did we know that we would end up in Glasgow because we missed a train. But Glasgow is a cool city. It's young, it's got old architecture, it's got artwork everywhere. The murals were fantastic. We explored the city and walked around and scrambled to find a hotel quickly. And then we got to go to the coolest underground game place where there was crazy spray paint, neon, black light artwork all around. I loved that place so much. Our next stop in Glasgow was a place called Waxy O'Connor's, which is a bar with live music and was basically like a huge tree house. It was so cool.
Day 7. We are in fresh clothes. Who are we? We're new people. We're brand new people today. And we're having breakfast at the hotel in Glasgow that we accidentally ended up because we missed a train. So today we're going to travel from Glasgow to Lancaster and then take a ferry from Lancaster to the Isle of Man. And then we're going to see some crazy motorcycle races. It's going to be cool. Yep.
As we walked from our hotel to the train station, of course, we saw a Doctor Who police telephone booth, and we got on a bus first to head to the train and saw the windmills. There's so many windmills in Scotland. The wind energy and sustainability is amazing. The train station was adorable, and once we got to the ferry, we saw more windmills. They had actually put windmills in the ocean. The ferry was not just a tiny little ferry, it was almost like an ocean liner. The ferry ride was about 2.5 hours from Lancaster to the Isle of Man, and we had plenty of time and plenty of views of the ocean. And finally we got to see land and started catching our first glimpses of the Isle of Man. And then my favorite part was watching all of the motorcycles come out of the ship. So it was like a parade of motorcycles leaving the ferry onto the Isle of Man. We were missing our motorcycles that we had rented, but it was so much fun watching everybody else ride their motorcycles. And there was a lot of traffic, so we were kind of glad that we weren't stuck in all of that motorcycle traffic. While walking through the Isle of Man towards our teepee tent village, we saw some cool motorcyclists and check out this teepee. It was so cool. I loved our little teepee village. It was different than the hotels and the Airbnbs we spent time in, but still lovely. So many motorcycles to see on the Isle of Man. I wanted to take pictures of every one of them. And here's Jay and I getting ready to watch our first races at Bray Hill. After motorcyclists had completed the races, they came around and gave the audience high five on their way to the pit. It was so cool seeing these motorcyclists who had just ridden around 200 miles an hour slow down and acknowledge the crowd and drive by slowly so people could say hi. After that, we headed to the food area where I tried my first Yorkshire pudding.
It's a pudding. No, it's a wrap. No, it's a pudding wrap.
The food area around the pit was so lively. There were so many people just eating and hanging out. We got to see the mechanics work on motorcycles and got to see one of the racers who won the race up close. We checked out some stores and we checked out the long row of beautiful motorcycles that had been ridden onto the Isle of Man. Oh my goodness, it was miles of so many different types of motorcycles. It really was fun to walk through and just see. Next, we were able to see some of the sidecar racers kind of take care of their sidecars, get them back into the pit area where they could be worked on a little bit more and store them for the next race. It was so fun to see them up close and personal and just see how crazy it is for the person to just hang on to the side. The birds were lively. The home base DJ was also so lively. I was loving the beats and the tunes that he was putting out there, and got a little dance in by myself in front of a motorcycle video screen. Why not? Sometimes you just gotta dance. Then I even got Jay to dance with me just a little bit. It's always a fun day when I can groove with Jay, especially out in nature. On the way back to our tent village, we saw so many more motorcyclists just heading around the island. It was so fun to be a part of, just the vibe of motorcycles everywhere. Our tent village had kind of a quieter, more peaceful ambiance. I showed off my little Honda hat that I got the first day, and then headed off into our tent for the windiest night ever.
Well, somehow our teepee village is still here after 50-mile-an-hour winds last night and a huge thunderstorm and rainstorm. It was quite a night, and the teepee held. The teepee kept us dry. We didn't fly away, and I'm here to tell the tale. So we're gonna go see more motorcycle races today. Woo!
For safety reasons, some of the races were postponed or delayed, so because of rain at different parts of the island, not making it safe for motorcyclists. So we walked around the town and checked out some of the stores, and then we went to a delicious Brazilian restaurant with one of those buffets, and walked around the town to see some rides, and the craziest roundabout in the world was in the middle of the town. Yep, this is it. We had no idea what the rules were for that. And back to the races. Oh, look at this guy coming in. Woo! The next morning, we took a bus to the Ballaugh Bridge, which is a location where the motorcycles actually hit a bump and both tires leave the pavement, fly through the air before they come down and finish the race. Here's Jay and I getting ready to view the Ballaugh Bridge. After watching the awesome races at the Ballaugh Bridge, we headed back down towards the main town, first with a bus, and then we took a Manx electric railway car down, there it is, down to the main part of the city and back towards our TP village. It was a slower way than the bus and offered a more scenic view of the countryside of the Isle of Man and the coastline of the Isle of Man. It was pretty breathtaking, and the slow pace was pretty lovely compared to the fast races that we had seen all day. And of course, sheep. On the Isle of Man, all throughout Scotland, there are sheep. The ocean, the sea was really rough when we got back. It was not a day for swimming. It was too cold, for sure.
It's a wee bit cold here on the Isle of Man. We are walking next to the ocean and cold. But look at these buildings. They're so pretty. Look at the ocean. Ah! Dressed like this, but there's palm trees. Ah!
This sweet little puppy distracted us from the cold and had the cutest tail wag, and we headed off through the city to find another place for dinner. Saw a row of awesome motorcycles again. Oh my goodness, those red ones were so beautiful. It was a beautiful evening with a marina. We found a Chinese restaurant to eat at before coming back to our TP village for the last night before we headed out on the ferry again back to Lancaster. Would I recommend going to the Isle of Man for the TT motorcycle races? Absolutely. Even though all the races didn't get to go while we were there because of weather, things were postponed, it was still such a fun experience watching these skilled motorcycle riders ride so fast through the city and through the whole Isle of Man. Definitely recommend.